Hi guys, this is Adam L with Adam L Photography and Okinawa Vision. We've got another product review for you today. Today we're going to be looking at Sony's NX series camera, the NX70. Now this is the NX70J, which is because I bought it in Japan. If you buy it overseas in the US, I think it's the NX70E. The only difference being that this has the Japanese language ability in the menu, so you can change between English and Japanese with this one. Now this has been out for a little while, and the reason I'm reviewing it now is that prior to buying it, I couldn't find any really decent reviews on this camera, and I thought it was about time someone did one, because it is a fantastic little bit of kit and it's a very niche item. So yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about the good things, bad things about this camera, what I like, how I've used it, where I think it's useful. I'm not going to go into specs because you can find that out online by looking on the actual manufacturer's website, etc. But I'll talk a little bit about some of the functions that I find useful about this camera. So we'll start with, it's quite a compact piece of kit. As you can see there in my hands, it's not very big, it's quite light. It's got this nice lens hood on the front, a really nice eyepiece for the viewfinder here on the back. You can also switch out and use your screen if needed. So ergonomically, it's quite well designed. The rocker up here, originally there was a lot of bad reviews about the rocker being very sensitive. That's been fixed with the firmware update. I had no problems. I got one after the update. So that works really nice. You can set that to be either fast pace or low pace. It fits really quite well in the hand. I've got say medium to large size hands. My wife has small hands. She's had plays with this, and she says it's quite comfortable as well. So yeah, let's just talk a little bit about the functionality about it. Now, why did I go with this camera? That's a good place to start. The reason I chose this camera, even though other cameras in this price range now have even better specs, is because it's rain and dust proof. Living in a tropical island like Okinawa, doing a lot of outdoor shooting and stuff like that, squalls come all the time. We have major windstorms come through. It's forever changing. The weather is very temperamental here, and with that said, if I'm out on shooting an outdoor event or something and it does start to rain, I don't want to have to pack up my kit or raincoat it up. Rather than doing that, I can simply just pull off the XLR audio section here, which is just a simple little screw that goes in there, and you pull that back, seal up the connection area here, and now you've got a rain and dust proof video camera. Now, I've had this out in good rainstorms too, and it does work really well. It's quite well sealed. The O-rings are really good on this. I've had no problems with it whatsoever. One of the problems that I do have with this particular setup is I really like having this top handle on my camera for shooting. So when I'm shooting around, I'll just seal that up a little bit so it doesn't come off. Sometimes I want to be shooting, especially doing outdoor documentary stuff, I want to be getting angles like this using my handheld here. It's really smooth, it's quite dynamic. Holding it here up to my eye is not quite as fluid, I find. So it's quite nice to have this ability here to do this. But when you take off the audio section here, the handle comes off with it. So what I would like to have seen from Sony would have been, rather than the handle come off, just the XLR audio section that to come off and leave the handle in place so you could still use that in the rain. So that is one kind of almost a deal breaker in some ways for me, but the way the camera performs and the fact that it does have the rain and weather sealing keeps it in the game. But yeah, I really do like the idea of having a top handle when I'm shooting at all times. So that's one thing that I wasn't a super fond of with this camera. Things I like about the camera, other than that, the way the functionality is laid out as well. You have all your settings, all your functions that you want are on the screen. You have several customizable buttons, so you could set that to having a one-touch to adjust your gain, or to adjust your exposure compensation, or your iris, etc., etc. So you can have those settings placed on the screen. So all you have to do is hit touch, adjust on the screen, and you've changed the settings for kind of like a quick go-to guide within the camera itself, without having to go through the actual menu settings on the camera. And that will work even when you've got it set to automatic mode, which is a really nice bonus, because sometimes you'll be out in the fly. I'll be shooting just say like an event, there's a lot of things moving, it's outdoors, the light's changing. I don't want to constantly be adjusting my settings in camera, so I'll whack it into auto mode and then just sit there and be able to adjust my exposure compensation a little bit, or just adjust the focus a little bit. Or usually what I try to do is just to keep I'll try to keep the iris open as far as possible when I'm shooting with the camera, and that's also customizable even while you're in automatic mode. Now the switch here you've got on the side is, you can see here there's a button. It says focus, zoom, focus, iris. So basically you can select zoom, hit this button, and then change this ring to make the zoom. Not overly necessary on a camera that has already got a really decent rocker. You switch it there to the focus, hit that, and then you've got your focus ability right here, so you can manually pull focus if you want to, and then again to the iris, and then you can sit there and open and close your iris, change your aperture for your photographers out there. So that's it's a useful switch, but it could do without the zoom function. Possibly another good function there would have been the gain. I would have preferred if I could have just clicked that to adjust the gain on the fly using that, rather than the zoom. What else we got here? We've got a couple of good features in here, and down the bottom you've got your iris button, you've got your expanded focus button, so you can hit that button and on your screen it'll zoom in, jump in on the actual image. It's not zooming the camera in, it's just jumping in on the image, so you can really dial in your focus, especially when you're shooting wide open. That's really quite good. You've got your histogram, you can change that to put your zebra patterns on your screen, so you can really hit your exposures. That's really good too. HDMI out here, one touch to hit into the play button down the back here, so you can just review your footage. Let's see what else we got here on the back. So you got your manual to auto mode here. You can switch between video and photo mode here. This comes with 96 gigabyte internal drive, which records in that, what is it again? It's the ADHD, I think it is, or it's basically grabs all the files, puts them together in one big file, and you can use your software to pull it out later. Yes and no on that for me, but that seems to be the way the industry is. You've also got here an SD card, which you can slot in there as well. One of the good things about using the SD card is that you can do a backup, so you can record both to the internal and to the SD and have a backup going at all times, which is fantastic. You really don't want to be losing your data when you're out, especially if you're out on projects like I do, where I'm out on the fly for a few days and no real chance to back up everything. So that's really nice to have that. Now this comes with a 10x optical zoom, which is, yeah, it's about it gets you close to about 200 mil, I'd say. A little bit over 200 mil on the zoom. No, I think it's like 260 or something like that. But then you can times in there with your digital zoom, which will take you a lot further in at, sacrificing quality of image. But it's still quite good. What else is there really to say? This little strappy thing here, that could do with being a little bit stronger. It seems a little bit flimsy, it's a little bit small, but most of the time I'm using the top handle, or I'm cradling the camera anyway, so it's not a real deal killer for me there. The audio, the XLR audio setup on top is fantastic. It works really well. You've got dual imports here, so you can record straight from the boom mic that came with it, the shotgun that comes with it, or you can also just plug in, say from a soundboard at a recording. Oh, there's a nice bird coming in the background. You can grab audio straight off a soundboard or from another microphone yet again if you want to. So you could run 2 lines of audio through that, which is quite good. Other than that, look, low light performance, yeah, it does well. It doesn't. It's not going to match up with, say, like a D800 or a DSLR in low light performance, but it does do well. It really holds well. The fact that the lens can go down to 1.8 when it's wide open is a real big bonus for that, shooting wide open. As soon as you start to zoom though, you start dropping into, like, I think at about 3, was it 3.5? No, 3.8. So you start losing that fastness in the iris really quickly as you zoom in. But shooting wide open, you've got 1.8, so it really handles the lack of light well, using this nice G lens from Sony. Basically with the hood, you open her up. I've got an ND filter in the back because I do a lot of outdoor shooting. If you want to change that, one click, one pull, you can twist that off. Now this is something else I don't particularly like about this item. It didn't come with a lens cap. So you've got this hood, which is fantastic, but sometimes when you're packing it away and the hood doesn't want to fit, it would be nice to have a lens cap to protect that lens, because it's really just there. There's no real, it's not really sunken that much at all. So always a little bit scared of damaging that lens. If I wasn't using a ND filter quite so much, I would probably use like just a protector, like a UV protector or whatever, those little protector lenses. I don't even know what they're for, actually, to tell the truth, other than to protect them. But yeah, great little camera. Highly recommend it for anyone who wants to do outdoor documentary stuff. You want to be outdoors, you don't want to worry about your kit getting wet. If you're not overly worried about the sound, you can take the XLR mic off and record sound straight off of the built-in microphone, which is still good. It's not pro quality, but it's still good. So it's a great little camera if you're going to be backpacking around, or you're going to be out in the wet and the beaches. in the deserts, you know, basically outdoors. This is a really good video camera because you don't have to stress it. It's rugged. It's built to take a bit of a beating, and it's still going to record really high quality footage and really good, really good audio. And it's got all the little features and functions that you would expect from one of these semi-pro little handycams of the NX series. Everything's compact, everything's good. The battery life is fantastic. I went ahead and bought the bigger battery. The stock one that comes with it is quite small, so I went ahead and bought the full-size battery. Again, would have liked to have seen Sony just throw a full-size battery in there because it does have the space for it. I'll show you what I mean. So you basically to pop the battery out through here on this little side door, which is a little bit fiddly, but that's good because it's waterproof. So this is the oversized battery. This is the one I had to buy extra, but it only comes with like a half-size battery. So that just seems weird. It would have. I figured if Sony was going to make space to put a big ass battery in, then why not just put a big battery in there? Anyway, got to make their money somehow. So yes, that's my little look at the NX70 Handycam from Sony. Great bit of kit. Image stabilization is another point, sorry, that's on this. It's got the image stabilization for when you walk around, the active stabilization. Works quite well. It's not overpowering, so you're not getting that real fake kind of warbly look to your images. So it's quite subtle, and it does look very good. It's not on par with what I'm seeing in the later models, like say the Panasonic little handycams. Those have incredible stabilization. This one does still show that it's got some shake, but in many ways, for the type of video you want to do with a camera at this level, you want that. Otherwise it looks really, really fake. And you can also fix it afterwards in Final Cut or whatever you use with their stabilization, if that's where you want to go with it. Personally, I don't like that like kind of warbled out, overly stabilized look, but if that's what you're looking for, it will get you really close to that, and it's just a small little hop from there with your post-production. So anyway, that's the camera, that's my review. This is Adam L. I'm going to get out of this sun because it's cooking me out here. Happy shooting.